So, morning Chris, morning Paul, morning Colin. Thank you very much, Colin, very kind of you. You haven't seen what's going to go wrong yet today. Morning Leroy, morning Mr. Clark. The old picture's a bit grainy, isn't it? Hey-ho. Morning Robert. Good morning. Finished tidying up the workshop after Mike Wolf tried to destroy it. Put paint everywhere, the bloke. Can't believe it. Hey, unbelievable. Yeah, paint up me monitors, up me ceiling, all over the place. Mike Walton paint, eh? Never mind. So, morning Nick. Should be looking there, but I'm looking over there. See who pops in. Morning, Adrian. Morning, Ian. We're slowly getting there. Morning, Stephen. Morning, James. No problem, James. Thanks for the order. Morning, Steve. Morning, Keith. Morning, Ian. Morning, Terry. Morning, John. Morning, morning, morning. Get the mornings out of the way. Morning, Stuart. Morning, Andy. Mornings. Saturday mornings. Here we go. Morning, Roy. Hi, Alison, Nigel. Hello, Chris. Michael Stratton, good morning. Haircut. You lose all your strength then, don't you? Morning, Ian. Few minutes and we'll get going. Going. The basic. I'll explain it as we go along. Morning, David. Morning, Terry. Morning, Dave. Morning, Paul. Hello, Woodburn Paul. Morning, David. Morning everybody that's not in the chat that's watching. Good morning. Gonna be an eventful day today. Morning Patrick. Yeah, I've got to go with Joe. Joe's bought a new house, new build. So today he goes to pick out all these bits and pieces. Kitchen, carpets, you know, all that sort of stuff. We're going for moral support. I'm telling Karen, you can't decide for him. He's got to decide on its own. It's his house. Morning, Andrew. Morning, Martin. So yeah, he's got to pick stuff. Ain't going to be ready to the end of the year, December, January time. They said end of November. December, January. So, we're going to get rid of him. He's going to go. We've got no Mrs. Oliver in support, so it's all going to go horribly wrong. I've got to remember to look at that screen to see what you're seeing. I've got to remember to look at that screen to see if someone's saying anything. So what I'll do is I'll stop throughout the demo and say, everybody happy? Where we go. Morning, James. So, I'll do that. So I'm going to look at that screen, watch what I'm doing down here, look at that screen to see what's going on there. Remember to push the buttons for the cameras. What else have I got to remember? I forgot. Anyway, we'll make it up as we go along, and hopefully it'll be all right. Be all right on the night, as they say. On the night, it'll be all right. Right, so we're 10 o'clock. We're Saturday, and here we go again. So what we're going to do, I called it the basics. Now, my old mate, morning Colin, my old mate Woodworm Paul popped over to pick a few bits up in the week, and he was having a few problems. And as I'm not teaching at the moment, the workshop's still shut, the shop's still physically shut, I thought to myself, well, let's cover a few basics. If you get the basics right, learn the basics, then the rest of it all falls into place. So we're going to do a basics with faceplate turning, and then over the next week or so, if people put comments in the bottom, then we'll do a basics on spindle turning, just so people start in the right direction. So let's come to the old overhead camera. So I've got a couple of blanks here. They're just old rotten blanks, really, full of worm. I'll get all the good wood. So we've got a couple of ways of mounting to start with. You can use a screw chuck. I'll put my screw chuck down somewhere safe right behind me. One of them. Or you can use a recess. This is my now favoured way. I just drill a recess, bang it on the jaws. The screw chuck's alright on smaller blanks. I would say up to 10, 12 inch, 2 inches thick, something like that. When you get to 12 inches, 3 inches thick, then realistically a recess. If you're going to do big blanks like this, can't see that completely, can you? Let's just zoom this out here. Big blanks like that, then you really want to go to a faceplate for security to get you going. So let's get them out of the way. We're not turning big blanks, we're going to turn a little blank. So we'll start with a screw chuck, and we're going to do sort of a basic turn, and then see how the time goes. We might get a slightly more advanced turn in. So the screw chuck goes in the jaws. It's got a couple of flats on there. Lock that in, and then we just wind the screw chuck onto the blank. Now, if your blank is chainsaw cutting all over the place, then maybe a screw chuck's not the best way to go, because we rely on the face of these jaws here, just there, sitting tight against the wood. Over. Now when I turn that round, that looks tight against the wood, so that's cool. Bring our tool rest up, just pinch it up, turn it by hand, and make sure she's not going to catch. There. For extra security, where possible, bring the tailstock up, lock it up. Lock that up. So now we're trapped between centres and we're securely on the screw chuck. Turn the speeder lathe down, turn it on, slowly advance it. Now, turning speed is up to you. It's whatever you're comfortable and safe with. Don't go turning it at 1500, 1600, 2000 RPM. If you're looking at it, you think that's a bit quick. If it feels a bit quick, then just turn it down. Okay, so we're running at about 800 here, something like that. That'll do us. Who's popped in? Morning, Rob. Morning, anybody that's popped in that I've missed. So, first safety. really you want to be wearing a polycarbonate impact resistant face shield. Something comes flying off the lathe, it's no fun if it hits you in the face. So face shield. For demoing I use safety glasses so you can still hear me, and we're not going to do anything dangerous, but it doesn't mean nothing can go wrong. So that's part one. Now what we're going to use is just a standard grind bowl gouge, ground at 45 degrees. This degree thing here really don't matter too much, you know. Tom that taught me, he likes 30 degrees, some people like 45, some 50. It really don't matter, it's just the angle of your bevel to the wood. So the steeper the angle, the further you are back. And the cut is all about picking up the bevel first. And by and large, let's come over to two cameras, see if that's better. That's not a lot better. Oh, it might be alright. By and large, your handle is trailing your cutting edge. So it's back. You can see there, if I zoom right the way out here, there. My handle's back here, but my cutting edge there. So my bevel's touching the wood and nothing's happening, and my handle's low. Where we're aiming to cut is just under the point, just here. Or if we're going in the other direction, just there. That camera pick that up. Just under the points. Okay, not off the tip, not off the corners, just under the points there. So we turn the lathe on, we get the tool in our side, and we just have the handle really low, bevel back, and nothing really much happens. And then we just roll the tool gently round so we pick up the cut, and then we just, once we've got that angle, we just travel along. Bouncing around a bit because we're not round. And once you get going, there's no need to round a blank really, but the grip on the tool is fairly firm, but I'm not holding on to it for dear life. My real pressure is here, onto the tool rest. Just like that. We turn the speed up. We're up to 15. All that happens is I can cut a bit faster. And you see I'm only taking light cuts there because of my angle of approach. If I want to cut more, I lift the handle up higher and expose a bit more cutting edge. It's a bit bouncy there, and I don't know why, so I'll stop and have a look. There's a bit of a crack in this old blank here, and a bit of a knotty thing growing in there, so that might be causing us a problem. So we'll try one more. Back, forward. A better cut. If I want to come back the other way, I stand over this side of the lathe, handle back. This is right-handed, so it's in my right hip. Same idea, lean forward, raise the handle. And I'll come back that way. If you're left-handed, then you do the same thing, but left hand on the handle. So I'm left-handed here, right hand holding it down. We'll pick cut up. I'm a bit more awkward left-handed because I'm naturally right-handed. Get me cut. And there. You just fell off me cut there. Wasn't so good. That's better. Now the problem I get if I do it left hand is I get covered in shavings. But it's simple as that. There's no pressure. I allow the cutting edge to cut the wood. More than anybody that's stopped in that I haven't seen. I see the numbers coming up here. So morning, 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 morning. So that's the basic cut with a standard grind bowl gouge. This is well peppered with worm. You can see this. Look. Absolutely. Oh look, I think there's one living in there. We'll chop his head off in a minute. So then you can start putting your shape into your bowl. Now technically I should come this way. It's called turning downhill because I'm cutting here and the grain behind the cut will be longer, supporting the grain in front of the cut. And that's the way we go. I find it easier to turn this way. And technically I'm not got supporting fibres if I do that, because this fibre is going to be longer than the one behind it, so I haven't got a supporting fibre. So if we do things properly by the book, we'll adjust our tool rest around. Somewhere there. Get the handle out of the way, lock this all down. Now what we're going to do is pick up here, but twist our body right hip away from the lathe to start generating a shape. So again, the handle's behind and I'm just brushing the shaving away. And each time I come a little bit further over and a little bit further up. No real heavy pressure on the tool, just a light pressure on the tool, and I'm just brushing this away there, and I've started to get my curve. I just find it easier to come this way. Now you hear that? That might be that I'm tearing the fibres now as I come this way. We'll have a look. And I do the opposite. I turn my right hip in towards the lathe. So there. Now, I've not torn the fibres, it's fine. So you can cut in either direction. It's all about having a sharp tool. Not me, I'm not the sharp tool. Thank you very much, Mr. Clark. Very kind of you. No need to do that, but thank you. So I can go in either direction. And if you learn that your cutting edge, bevel cutting edge, and then don't force the cut, you'll get a good finish in either direction. If you cut a piece of wood and the grain tears out and you're going that way, then that bit of wood has got to be cut this way. If you cut the wood the right way, this way, and it tears the grain, then try cutting it that way. Depends on which way the fibres are laying. So we can then just get our shape in, back, forward, push. Now you see what I'm doing there, hopefully. I'm exposing more of the cutter here. So I take more wood. So as I rub my bevel, lift my handle and lean into the lathe, I raise my handle as I come round, and I'm stuck there because I've got too much wood for my cutter, so I have to back it off a little bit. And as I come round, I'm lifting as I go. And then we get our outside shape quite easily. And this was all with a standard grind bowl gouge. I'll leave that bit there because we've got to make a mountain. Not a mountain, a big tall one. A mountain for our thing. It's all with a standard grind bowl gouge. Now, you get obviously all the different grinds, long grinds, Irish grinds, fingernail grinds, all this sort of stuff. But you can do it all with a standard grind. The advantage of using a standard grind, you've got more bevel support round here. So when you start, you're better off with bevel support. Where your catch comes, on the outside, instead of following the cut around so the handle's trailing the cutting edge, your wrist take over and you start doing this. And there's your catch on that corner there. Because you're bringing your arm round and changing the orientation of the handle. And that's why you'll get a catch, because you think, oh, I'll get round that, and bang. So you're sort of pushing it around, handle trailing, and that will give you a smooth finish. Now I've cut that against the way the books tell you, but I haven't got any torn grains, so I'm quite happy to cut that way. The basics, everybody will tell you everybody does everything differently, and they do, but the basics are bevel rub, forward, and it's not bevel rub hard, it's just bevel rub forward and then pick the cutter, so you're sort of floating the bevel around or guiding the bevel around the outside shape. Okay with that so far? Morning, Mark. Morning anybody that's popped in. Everybody happy? Good. Okay, so now we've got to make our foot. So we'll come in here, we'll just pick this up here. Lock this down, and now we want to just bring this in. So we want to make sure this is flat, bevel rub, back, lean forward. Now this is where the tailstock could get in the way, obviously. Yeah, you can see that it's going to get in the way. So if we stop the lathe, slide that back, get rid of the nasty elbow stabber. Out of the way. Now I can bring the tool rest around to face off. Now, this is faceplate, so the grain is running across the lathe bed. It's a solid blank apart from the worm, so I've got a choice. I could either put a socket in here, or mortise, or I can do a spigot tenon. If you're going on end grain like this, do either or. I prefer the tenon because I can turn that away at the end so you can't see where you've been. If you have a socket, it's there, and you could get rid of it at the end, but it's easier to deal with a tenon. Now what we want to do is make sure we're coming through on centre, so let's come over 3/5 on the end on centre, so we just rub this in. As I come in, just raise my handle. Now if you look there, I've come above centre. The tool rest is just a tad high, so I'll lower this down. I'll come through on centre. It's as simple as that. Now, if you want to push your shape around your bowl, you could bring your arm over the lathe bed, rub the bevel, come towards you, and then do a push cut around the bowl. Now I'll stop there, red stop, not green, red stop, because my tool rest was in the wrong place to do that cut. I had a lot of tool over my rest, and if I get a catch, bang, it's in the advantage of the cutting edge. So now I can pick this up, bring the handle towards my body, pick up the cut, and push it around. Now I'm cutting just under the tip, just here. Let's get that on the camera. Just under the tip, just here. So I was cutting just there. There. Something I forgot to mention. The flute here, the bottom of the flute, is pointing up at sort of 10 o'clock-ish when I'm doing that. And when I'm coming this way, my flute is pointing up at the bottom of my flute is up at 2 o'clock-ish. That's how you can check your angles. Let me just get rid of that bit. So everything can be done with a standard grind bowl gouge. There's no need to go for long grinds, Celtic grinds, Popeye grinds, or any other sort of grinds. So I'm just going to bring my tool rest up, mark out our spigot. You all know the drill by now. Now when you've got jaws on your chuck that say I don't know, 40 to 70 mil, that's rubbish. Well, it is, it does it, but you don't want it to do that. You want it to be about 4 mil wider, 6 mil, 4 mil ish wider than the minimum size. So these are 50 mil jaws. Spigot size on these I think is 42. I go to about 45, 46 ish. Left point there. If you're not comfortable with this, what you can do is just get a ruler, which I've had everything in my pockets and not my ruler. Stupid boy. You can just get your ruler, get the tip of the ruler in there. That's where I need my glasses, and mark off. I want 46 mil, so mark off 23 mil ish, about there, and I can just do it with a pencil. No, I can't. I didn't make a big enough mark to see the first mark. That's it, just there. And as I see that come round, I just put my pencil on there, and I can do it like that. I prefer this way, so left point. I think that's more accurate, and I just line it up. And now I can cut my spigot in, just picking up the cut here. Oh. Then pick up the cut and lean the handle forward. So as I pick the cut up, I just lean the handle forward and just come up close to the line. Now obviously I'm going to get a problem getting the shape. So that's why I use a skew. You can use a scraper, you can use whatever you like. So I use a skew, so I can just come in, pick the cut up, there, up to me line, and then I just got to make sure that my bottom's flat, and at the moment I'm concave. Somewhere there. Now I'm nice and flat. Now depending on your jaw set, mine I only slightly tapered, so I just knock that high point down so I get a grip the whole length of this spigot. Now I know on my jaws I've got a set of teeth at around about 6-7 mil, and they're just going to pick up on this edge, so I want this a bit lower. I'll just remove a bit of that. Somewhere there. That should do me. That's nice and flat. That's the outside of our bowl done on our screw chuck. Now, the best way to do this is not to remove your screw chuck too soon. Because if you've got that wrong, you're putting your screw chuck back in and rewind it on. This is a coarse thread and it will become loose. So why not just pop it round like that. Now the biggest problem people get bowls coming off is because they crush the spigot too tight, and then if you get a catch, it's like an axe going in the right direction and your bowl comes off and your spigot's left in the jaws. So pinch it up, quarter of a turn, and that will be enough. And make sure you can't get a £5 note between the face of the jaw and the shoulder of the wood. And that means you've got a good solid mounting. If you're out and you get a gap on one of the jaw faces, you get a catch, it can prise out of the jaws. So make sure you're there. We were there. And that's nice and tight. Now I just removed the screw chuck with a spanner. A selection of spanners I was doing something else with the other day, and didn't bring them back. Not that one, not that one, it's not that one. Maybe it's that one, is it? It's not that one. I've lost my spanner. Not that one. Where's on my spanner? The spanner. I've lost my spanner. It's not very good. I normally got a spanner so I can wind it straight out. And I was messing around. I've got spanners everywhere. And no, I'm not the spanner. Well, maybe I am. Who knows? Was it that one? That one will do it. Trouble with me, I start doing something, put tools down and don't put them away again. So I can just wind that out. And that's mounted with a screw chuck. Nice and simple. Over to here, and now we've got to start hollowing our bowl. And we're going to do it with standard grind, no flash grind. Here. Just make sure my tool rest comes through on centre. Turn the lathe on. Now if I rub the back of the bevel so the handle's back towards me, we might be better overhead again. There. I can lean forward And my flute at the moment is, bottom of my flute is at 3 o'clock. I lean forward and you can see I score a line. No, you can't. Let's try 3 or 4, that might be better. So as I lean forward, you can see I score a line. Now if I stop at that point, that'll sit there all day long, because my back and my bevel's supported in the little channel I've just cut. Rotate my wrist anti-clockwise, so now my flute's up at my 2 o'clock position. Little push, not a big push, just a little push, and then just guide this in. And into the middle. If you're pushing too hard, when you get to that middle position, you'll sort of jump right away across. Then you're in danger of digging your tool in there and it will fly back at you. So just enough pressure. You're just holding the cutting edge on here. It's as simple as that. And as I create this shape, what I'm doing with my body, let's see if we can get a body shot in. Let's zoom this one out. Zoom it in, zoom it out, shake it all about. Right. So, what I do with my body is as I come in, pick the cut up. Oh, you got the back of my head. Hold on, let's lean back. Twist my wrist, and then my arms are locked, but I twist my right hip away from the lathe. In, let's try it. Hold on. Let's try it that way round, see if we get a better shot. You can't get what I'm doing. Let's zoom that one out. Now, twist that around a bit. Right. Ooh, let's try 4 and 5. Right, see what you can see here. So, I lean in, pick my cut up, little twist, and then just rotate my body away. As I do this normally, I'd have the tool in my side here, lean in further. Tool don't leave my side, and I just advance in. If you're coming right the way back, you can come here, but then you just lock your frame a little bit. I just feed it around, then I get a nice flowing curve on the inside, full of wormhole. So it's just like that. But if I want to do that, I can, but my shoulder and my elbow stay locked, but not tense locked, just locked and round and in. Is everybody all right with that so far? If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. This bit of sycamore is really dusty. It's as simple as that. That is the basics of basic tool control. And all you do is get used to cutting, back to this one, cutting in the right position, just under the tips here. With a standard bowl gouge, you've got plenty of bevel support, and you can come in and round. I'll make you giddy. Let's change the cameras again. Around and in there. Now if you push too hard, I'll mimic this, I'm pushing really hard here. And I've got my bevel back a bit too far. Shame we ain't got smell-o-vision, you'll smell this as well. See what I've done? I've burnt the inside of the wood. Now I won't be able to touch that gouge. That's going to be piping hot. Because I'm pushing too hard. So if you see sort of burning marks, or if you get raised bits in there, you're pushing miles too hard with the bevel. Now this is a bit of 3-inch thick wood, so we've got to get down inside here. Now you can, if you can't twist your hips, do this off your wrist. But it's all about the timing that you follow this arc back. A bit like rowing a boat. Now I'm pushing a bit harder here on purpose. I'm just trying to get a bit of wood away. Wood away there. Yeah. Might be better with side on, and we don't want the overhead camera, it's that one. Right, you might be able to see a bit more. Listen this back in a bit. Yeah, and zoom that one back in a bit, twist it back round. There we go. Right, so now we've got the bases of our bowl, and now we can sort of just pick the cutting edge up. Hear that? That's because we never faced the blank off. Pick the cut up. Little push in. Now we're going to fall off the cut because we'd made it deeper, so when we come back this cut, we'll pick this one up here. Then we'll get near the centre. And then we just keep going. Until I catch up with the curve. I can just rub the side of the bevel right away over the lathe. And in. Now, another problem. When I'm going 3 inches deep and I'm having to come over here, right over the lathe bed, so the arm's away from my body. It can be done, that's the way it was always done. I ain't going to lean over here like this. I just lock my frame here and do that. If you've got a rotating headstock, make life easy for yourself. Bring your headstock out. There. Lock her down there. Now I can get here quite easy. I haven't got to be over the lathe bed, have I? I'm still with the tool in my side. I can rub my bevel. Oh, I could come out a bit further here. Now, can you hear that noise? That's me pushing a bit hard, just trying to get that wood away. Pick this up. And one of the tricks is try and keep your shavings playing consistently off the tool, and that means you're travelling at the right speed. Let's bring that. Is it this camera? Not that camera. This camera over here. There's so many cameras, I don't know where I'm bringing them, coming or going. Tilt that around there, where I tilted the headstock there. And you'll notice we get a lot slower as we come into the centre. Sort of try and creep up on it. And what you can do is, if you're coming in like this, when you get to the centre, you can rotate your wrist and start cutting with the inside of the wing and undercut that pit. That might be a bit big for undercut. Let's make it a bit smaller. There, little pit, so I can come in and undercut it, and the pit will then come back into the flute of my tool. Right, so now you can see I've got a lot of lines and bumps inside here. You should be able to see them. There's little bumps here and lines. A lot of people struggle with this and they'll use a scraper to get rid of them. But there's no need to use a scraper. We can pick the cutter on this wing here, lean the handle towards the centre of the bowl, and then just keep going, pick another cut up, and very light cut, and I'm floating the bevel around now. Now this tip's starting to feel a bit warm because the tool's already getting a bit blunt. So what we're going to do is we're going to sharpen our tool. Next problem, even with a Pro Edge, people sometimes get this wrong. So the best idea, if we come over it, there, zoom that in a bit, there, is get a felt pen and shade all this beveling. Make sure you go right up to the cutting edge. I I'll take my safety glasses off, I might be able to see something. There. Make sure I've got it all shaded in. And if we whip over to the Pro Edge, ka-ching! There, now I can't see what you're seeing here, but there's my felted bevel. I lay it in my V-block. Now this is ground at 45 degrees, so I'm just set at 45 degrees. No pressure on the right hand other than guiding it, and I have to put my thumb to 10 o'clock. Slide up, starts to cut, rotate my wrist all the way over anti-clockwise, come back to the centre, and then I rotate my thumb over to 2 o'clock as I get to the centre, and I can rotate easily then anti-clockwise. When I take this off, I wanted to remove all the felt, and I've got all the felt there. I missed a tad on that edge, just a tad. I don't know if you can just see that bit of felt. So I need to do that again. So all that felt's gone. Yeah, right. So all that felt's now been removed. If you keep leaving a little bit of felt, what you'll end up doing is getting a high point just about here or here, which gives you two little ears. So when you're trying to do this, your ears will catch. So always make sure you've ground it off. Use the felt. Once you've done it a couple of dozen times, you won't need to felt. You'll be able to see exactly what you're doing. So now I can just pick this cut up, freshly sharpened tool, just very lightly in here. All the way back. Creep it up on the middle. There. And we'll have a look at the surface. That's fine. We're a bit thick in the bottom, so we need to take a bit out the bottom here. So I'll just rub the side bevel, glance the side bevel, come down. Lean my hand away from me to pick the cut up. Little twist, catch that tip. Let's check that. Ooh. Red stop. Still a bit thick in the bottom. But I've got a nice smooth curve in it. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera. Sorry, people. Here we go. No one shouted. That'd be better. I've got a nice smooth curve in here. That's not better. Let's try that one. That's better. Nice smooth curve in here. Now, a lot of people say you've got to grind the heel away just here because you'll never get round the curve. But this is 45. I can get round this curve quite easily without grinding the heel away because I'm moving my body and following an arc with my body. So I can bring it around. I'm not pushing the bevel into the wood so hard that it really is going to be a problem. But I'm thick there, so I can just carry on like this. Glance the bevel. Glance is a good word. try that. Still a bit heavy in the bottom there. Now that chatter is me pushing hard again. You get the back of my head on that camera. Right. Let's try that. That's getting more like it. And then obviously if we don't want to join the funnel club, we just check our depth there. We've got plenty there. Famous last words. So now I can just join this all together. That chatter noise there, you can hear, is because the wood's getting a bit thin and I'm pushing a bit hard for the wood at that thickness. Plus we've got a lot of texture already in here from the worms, so we just got to float it round there really lightly, like when I was doing there. Roll the wrist the other way anti-clockwise, undercut that bit. And then you've got nice bowl. There's a little ridge line in the bottom and we're just a little bit thick in the bottom. One more cut, as they say. There we go. That's fairly even wall thickness round and down. It's nice and round in the inside and nothing there that wouldn't just sand. Job done. And a few worms. So that's the basics with a basic bowl gouge. No need for scrapers, no need for whatever grinds. You can just do it with a basic bowl gouge. This is 3 inches by 6, standard little blank. And if it was 3 by 8 or 3 by 10, you've got more room to play with. So you can do all of that, and that was just done with a 1/2 inch standard grind bowl gouge. So if we want to take the base off of this now, bring this back here. Truck key, overhead camera. We can now just tidy this bottom up, turn this away, and then we've got our little bowl. Okay, we're not bothering sanding. This is a little bit frayed here. Normally we would just face this off. Actually, let me just face that off. do things properly for once. Pinch that up, make sure that's in the chuck properly. It's not in the chuck properly, you can see that, it's bouncing. It's trouble when you take things out of the chuck, you don't put them back in exactly the right place, then you're out. Not out, you know, out. And still not quite right. Sorry? Oh, okay. See you in a minute. Mrs. Oliver's taking our little soldier to the building society. This is where his problems start. He's got to transfer part of his deposit. He's got to be a proper little adult. And that's what's happened. I've taken it out of the truck and now we've got a little bit out, but we can just tidy this up anyway. So we just come here, he says, famous last words. I've got my safety glasses down here in case this goes a bit peaked on. Just go rub that side bevel. Just brush that along there. So I'm literally, to pick that cut up, I rub the back of the bevel, and as I get the bevel rub, I'm just tilting my handle towards the lathe. Just a gnats. So I brush away the surface. I don't want to go mad at it, otherwise I'll get a problem. And I was literally holding my gouge on the flute and just squeezing my hand to give it that little rock. Nowhere near that, just a little rock, probably about that much, to get the cut on. And that tidies her edge up and gets rid of the frayed stuff. So it can all be done with just a box standard 45-degree bowl gouge. Now, where was I? We were going to take the bottom off. So, simple way to take the bottom off without too much expense is just make yourself a friction mat. And I had one here earlier. Hold on. Where's my friction mat on? So I've got a little friction mat, non-slip mat, glued to a block of wood, and I use a faceplate on the back of these. You can just cut a mortise socket in the board and then expand into that. I use a faceplate because then it lasts forever. When you keep expanding into the wood, obviously the wood can break down and all the rest of it. Most important thing, turn your speed down. Then what we do, bring our live centre in, get rid of our tool rest out of the way, bring our live centre in there, lock the tail stock down. We've got that so far. I've just looked up at the camera to make sure. And then I just get the point of that back in the point I had earlier. Tighten it up, not over tighten. Enough. That bit of creaking there is I'm probably a little bit tight. Then I'll turn it on and just turn it up slowly. And that's running true enough so I could turn that away. And I do this after sanding. Now, if you're not all that sure, always turn it off because we are just on a friction fit here. Come in here, lock it down, turn it up. And if you're on a mountain like this, you shouldn't really turn much above 500. And again, with my 1/2 inch standard bowl gouge, I can just come in, pick this cut up, no pressure. Lean the handle towards the lathe. We're not quite round here. We're slightly off. That's it. I was pushing just a bit too hard. Now, if you hear a noise, double check everything. That's in. Check the jaws on the chuck. Let this off a little bit. Bring that back in. And over tighten that. Make sure we're sound. There's just a little bit in there. Rubber, and my faceplate is out as well. Okay, so now I can just pick the back of the bevel up on that foot. Might be a better shot for you. That's making a noise, isn't it? No pressure, just let it come in. Now I've got to stop there because my corner of my gouge was going to hit me live centre. Yeah, that rubber. Now I've got a peg and I can just saw that off and sand it away. If I've got a smaller gouge, a little spindle gouge or something, I could just bring this in closer to the, so I've got less peg to cut off. And I can keep going with that. But that noise is driving me up the wall. So let's get rid of that. Now just cut that peg off, sand it, and there's my bowl with a standard grind bowl gouge. So, where are we going? Right. Now we'll just do another quick bowl. Once you've practiced, just practice and practice that with a standard grind. Okay? Once you've practiced with that standard grind, then you've got the bevel support and the cutting edge sorted out in your mind. You can do whatever you like. So, we'll go with a socket on this one, bring this around, bring this here, just expand that, make sure she's on there nice and firm. Now straight away I'm going to bring the towel stock. You can do this over the lathe bed, but your arms are away from your body. I'll bring this round so I can get at it, and I'll just move the cameras to make sure we've got a shot of this. What camera are we on there? The red one. Let's see if we can get out a bit. Out a bit. Bring my tool rest round a bit. So I'm just taking averages with my tool rest to here, and now I can use my longer grind. Same idea, I'm cutting just under the tip, but I can come here and just push this away for speed. I'm not going to go mental with this, don't worry. Just make sure that turns alright out there. So we'll turn that on. We'll run around about 900 or something. Now I just rub the back of my bevel. Oh, you got the back of my head. Hold on. Back of my bevel, yeah. Yeah, pick the cut up and then lean. And it's just going to bounce as I get to the edge, but I can just roll my wrist up a little bit anti-clockwise. And when I roll my wrist up a little bit, I'm using the wing of the tool to cut out that rough wood. And I just push the wood away. It's a bit more chippy, but I'm cutting with the supporting fibres in my favour, so that I'm cutting the longest one last. Little bit more speed there. We'll use the speed of the lathe, so we're up to about 1400. One more. I was just trying to take too much for myself there. So I can just back it off. Then come in here. I'm just refining my shape a little bit there, because it's ugly at the moment, so I'll just bring this around there. Just pick that cut up. So back of my bevel, you see, I can pick up the cut wherever I want, and then just with a lean of the wrist towards me, and if I want to take less, I just drop my handle down a bit. There, and if I'm not happy with the shape, which I'm not, I can just pick it up and push it back the other way. noise there is Oliver pushing too hard for the speed of the lathe coming over the cutting edge. But you can see, once you've learned the balance of the bevel to the cutting edge, you can chop your bowl away pretty quick. Might be a bit blunt, the old tool as well. Let's try this one. That's better. I'll just turn myself away there. That's going to be our spigot. I can adjust my tool rest around to face off my blank. Gets rid of the rubbish. I can just put a little mark in so I know where my centre is. Now I can pick up my long grind. Somewhere there. Somewhere there. I can double check that with my vernier. I don't think I'm too far out. I'm about... I'll put a pencil on there, I'm about 2 mil out. Now I could tidy this up with my skew or just going with the tip of my tool, but if I use my skew, I'm just coming here, make sure that shoulder's flat. Get down to my line. To be quite honest, it would have held there, it was close enough. That flange there. If I wanted a bit more of an OG on here, I could just come in and put a little rim on this so I can come back and then just come out. So I twist myself towards the lathe, pick the cut up away from the lathe, get up to my little line there, push myself back into the lathe. Just a little flared rim bowl. I'm just picking that cut up there. Oh, that was a blunt tool, wasn't it? So now I've got like a little flared rim to my bowl, and I can tie it up using the wing of the tool. The wing of the tool, I can just side bevel, roll it over and then shear cut it round just to blend that in so I'm not sanding for the day. That would do it, somewhere there. And because we've learnt the basics of supporting the bevel and the fibres, that's not too clean, that needs to be a bit clean, that might cause us a problem. We've got some fibres overhanging on here, all frayed, so that's not so good, so we can just clean them off. Where's my skew gone? Let me skew in here, just a tip, brush them away. That's got them. So now in theory, if we've cut that well enough, open my jaws up, lock it down, pinch it up, 1/4 of a turn, make sure I can't get a £5 note between there, turn my speed down, turn it on, turn it back up, and we're running true enough, so that's cool. Let me all rests at about the right height. I just want to face this off a little bit. So the tool's in the side, and I'm just brushing that along again. And now we can start. Now, back of the bevel again, forward, same attack. But I'm using the wing of the tool here. Towards the lathe, in. Same principle of movement. Now I'm leaving a core in the middle here because we're turning faster. Get a bit of balance and bring the speed up a bit. Into the lathe, away from the lathe. And I'm just rolling the wing over to use more of the wing of the tool to take out and I'm just gonna get that lit. Somewhere there. Now I'm going to shuffle round. Now as I was doing that, my handle of my tool is hitting whatever that's called, tailstock. So realistically, I either remove the tailstock or just turn the headstock out a bit further so it gets out of my way. There, now with doing that, I've got a... Is it this one? Which one is it? What camera? Not that one, you want that one like that. It might be this one, John. Okay, let's move that one. Oh, that's the wrong camera. Must be this one. There's too many cameras for me here today. There we go. Now you're not going to see in there. Let's come 3 and 5. See if that, no. 4 and 5. Oh, look at that. Looky, looky. Right, so now I can get in further, bring this around. And to get rid of the middle, I can now chop down. So I can bring the cutter in there. And as I bring the cutter in, I lean into the lathe. And just bring this core down. And now I just pick this up and level this out. All the same action. So as I come through here, you'll see me roll my wrist. So I pick up a cut here, come round, and as I come into here, not only am I twisting, I'm rolling. Now I think this tool's getting a bit blunt because it's getting a bit crunchy. If I lay off the pressure, I might get away with it. But that'll definitely be tool sharpen time. Freshly cut tool there, that'll do. You see the difference a sharp tool makes? And don't mean me. Now let's just check that, see how thick we are. A bit thick there, got a bit to play with there. We're getting there, we've got that little flared rim, so we'll come in on our little flared rim. That'll give us our flared rim. Now we'll just come in on the side bevel, give that a push into our little undercut. And all the shape is all the same. All off my body, twisting. Try that. A little bit thick still. So we can take a bit more out. Side wing, handle towards the lathe, pick the cut up. Guide it into the middle, just throw it into that middle, little undercut, there. We could probably take one more out of there if we wanted to. One more cut, one more cut. Now I'm getting to the extreme here because I've put an undercut in. As I come down the bottom, I am pushing off a little bit, and if you do that, there is another tool you could use if I can find it. A flatter grind. This is a 60-degree grind, and that enables me to pick up a cut. So you see how much further over the lathe I'm having to come just to pick the cut up, but it enables me to pull the curve right the way round. So there, over the lathe, pick the cut up. Just brush it through that centre. And then we've got our little bowl, nothing there that's not sandable. Using the same actions as we did with our 45-degree standard grind. So it's all off of the body and moving it around. And that's the basics of using a bowl gouge. Hope you've enjoyed it. Just like a little cauldron, yes, just like a little cauldron. So that's the basics, so that's how you do it. So what you do is, before you start running ahead with all these super grinds, just learn the basics and control with your 45-degree standard grind gouge, where you've got a lot of bevel support. And once you can make that flow, then go on to using 40, 50, 50s, 37 and a halves, whatever it is you want to do, whatever is the new fad. But learn the basics first. Basic little shape, basic little bowl gouge, and just keep the tool in your side and follow yourself around. So, I hope you've enjoyed that as a basic demo. Paul, I hope that's helped you. Gives you a guide to what we did. When I started turning, I used to stand there for 40 hours plus a week, just doing that sort of thing. And just getting used to the basic. I was having lessons as well with old Tom. But the basics, and get the basics. Once the basics are installed, you'll find that the rest of it just flows, you know. But it's understanding where your bevel is to your cutting edge and how you rock your tool onto that cutting edge. So, I hope you've enjoyed this morning. It's been great fun doing it. There probably will not be a demo next Saturday, but the Saturday after. So, I'll keep you posted. If you've enjoyed that and you want a basic on spindle turning, I'll do that. I see Mike Walt's not working. I had a message from Mike. He said, I'm working tomorrow, hooray! But he's turned up. A boo! It's alright, Mike. I've cleaned all the paint up. You don't have to worry about it. I've washed the monitors down, the ceiling, the wallpaper, everything. Unbelievable, man. Don't let Mike Walt anywhere near paint. Trust me. He just throws it everywhere. I don't know what's the matter with the man. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you, James. It was designed to be a bit of an instructional demo. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Stuart. Oh, well, Stuart not turned anything for ages, nor have I. Only on Saturday morning demos. Don't tell Russell Clark. I'm supposed to be getting some legs done for him. So I haven't done this week. Last minute. I've got till midnight, and Sunday. Plenty of time. Thanks, Roy. I'm not looking at the camera now. I'm reading the comments. Thanks, Colin. You can do that, yes, Aaron. You can sort of, I just manipulate my wrist to wherever I feel comfortable. Some people go up inside the bowl and back down in a big arc. You're far better off sort of coming off your hips this way round. Depending on the height of your tool rest, you will sort of tweak it a little bit. But I'm not an up and downer, sort of right up in an arc. what you'll find out if you try that technique, if you're a bit overzealous, you'll come up too high and your tip of your tool will meet the grain coming down and bang, you got a catch. I've got till midnight, Mr. Clark, Sunday. As long as they're done before midnight Sunday, I kept my word, they're done this week. Not going to be done this afternoon. Off choosing stuff for Joe's house. I think that might cost me something. I've got a feeling. I've just got this little feeling in me bones. Thanks, Terry. Terry at Chestnut. Not enough about the basic online. Too much about the running before you can walk. I can't run, I'll trip over. Cheers, Robert. Cheers, Mo. Cheers, Rob. Mike Walks laughing again. Cheers, Andy. Michael Stratton, very educational morning. What have you been watching? The BBC or something? Cheers, Nick. Glad you enjoyed it. Cheers, Bob. Thanks for stopping by. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Baz. Stop laying about. I've got grass to cut. I've got a lorry load of bark to put in the flower beds turned up. Hey. I can't do it tonight. We're out tonight as well. Forgot about that. First night out in 14 months. God, must be going mad. Cheers, Cyril. Glad you've enjoyed it. No, Terry, it doesn't. Monday's the first day of the week in my book. Not Sunday, Monday. Stop causing trouble. Cheers, Aaron. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks, Jennifer. Chris Dodds, what's a weekend? Yeah, don't I know. Cheers, Paul. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks, Hans. Glad you've enjoyed it. It's only worth doing if people enjoy it. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget, hit the old thumbs up thing. That helps the channel. Don't know what it does, but everybody says it helps the channel, so I'll say it as well. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Helps the channel. Cheers, Paul. Paul's threatening to see me in the week. That's grim, isn't it? Cheers, John. Right, people. We've had a good morning. We've had no major disasters. I didn't use any masking tape because Mike Walk seems to have trouble with masking tape, so I thought I won't use masking tape. Causes a problem, obviously. Nothing to do with the turning, just masking tape. Cheers, Pete. Cheers, Rex. Glad you've enjoyed it. Practice, practice, practice. Didn't do that at school. Used to write some lines, Oliver. Give me 100 lines. I must not do this in class. Cheers, Adrian. Glad you've enjoyed it. Saturday begins now. You've got to go and do your chores. Won't get away with it anymore. I've got to clean up. Karen's gone out. That means I've got to clean up. It's wrong, isn't it? Absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Right, people. If everybody's happy and we've all decided... Adrian, no, not at the moment, mate. My guess is I'll look at it sort of, where are we now? June, probably September time. I'll have a look at it, see how we're doing. We're going to try and get a bit of time off over the summer. The shop will be going, well, the mail order will be going. I've got a guy who works for us, Doug, and he's coming back in. We've got loads of stuff to catch up with outdoors where we've been at it. So hopefully, if everything rolls together nicely in the world, then we should be back up and open in the autumn. But everybody will know when I've reopened, because I'll tell everybody. That's what I'll do. Right, people, thank you all for stopping by. I do appreciate you sparing your time on a Saturday morning to watch me waffle on. I enjoy doing it, so, and I wouldn't do it if no one was watching, because that would be like talking to yourself. I'm just trying to think, do I talk to myself? I remember lines. Now they turn up in my turning. Good stuff. Right, everybody, thanks very much. Have a good weekend. Enjoy whatever you're doing. Let's hope we see a bit of sunshine and we'll catch up. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you very much and goodbye.